This podcast is brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world, and is also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage and microgrid solutions. And Kempower, the reliable, quick, and scalable EV charging solutions for everyone and everywhere. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Out of Spec podcast. You join me today, Francie, accompanied by Kyle, as you know, and Jose from RivianTrackr. Today, we are covering a bit of breaking news from Rivian. We covered the R2 release unveiling event that's coming up earlier this week, but now Jose has found that Rivian is launching two new battery options for the R1T and the R1S, and we're going to dive into all of the details. I want to know just what is all this about, what's changing, what's available now. But I think Kyle had a question too. If you could fill us in, Jose, our resident Rivian aficionado, as I like to say.
For sure. Well, thanks for having me back on again. Always a pleasure to talk to you, the fine folks at Out of Spec. So, literally minutes ago from when we're recording right now, Rivian dropped a big new thing on their website. Pretty much they've launched two new battery options. Now, before we get too much into that, let's talk a little bit about what Rivian offered previously. So previously, very beginning, the only thing you could get was a large battery pack from Rivian. And that was an estimated 352 miles EPA estimate is what they said. I know, Kyle, you're more into the numbers than I am, so you probably know exactly how many kilowatts the battery is and all that, but we can talk about that in a moment. And then not too long ago, Rivian introduced the Max Pack, which had an EPA rated 410 miles. Now, what we learned about the Max Pack was that, hey, it's just the large battery pack with a different chemistry in the battery cells. It wasn't actually physically a bigger battery like Rivian originally had promised it would be. So those were the two options. And of course, the Max Pack was pretty pricey, if I'm not mistaken. It was like $16,000 to add it on to your vehicle. So let's fast forward to today. So today, Rivian introduced two new battery pack options. And that is the standard battery pack, which has an EPA rated rate. Well, sorry, not EPA, hasn't been EPA tested yet, but per Rivian has a 270 mile range. That new standard battery pack is now the new default, right? So that doesn't come at any cost. It is the standard cost of the vehicle. There's no additional cost to that. And then Rivian also introduced what they call the Standard Plus battery, which comes with a 315 miles of range. That battery is a $3,100 option. So on top of the standard, you can get a Standard Plus. Now, what we don't know yet for sure is, hey, are these LFP batteries? We haven't been able to get those full details yet. Literally, this is all happening like in real time. So this is all brand new information. So we do not know. What I do know, is that the Standard Plus is the standard battery pack with more range unlocked. We do know that much. So those details were shared with us. So if you buy a standard battery pack, in theory, and Kyle can correct me if I'm wrong here in a moment, there's nothing stopping Rivian from going, hey, you can unlock more battery by buying this unlock that unlocks firmware, and here you go, now suddenly you have a little bit more range. In theory, not saying they're going to do that, we do not know. With that though, some pricing has also changed. So like I said, the standard battery pack is now free included with the vehicle. Standard Plus is a $3,100 upgrade. The large battery is now a $9,100 upgrade. And then the Max Pack is now a $19,100 upgrade, which is like the opposite direction they should have gone in, because as we know, and if you watched the Out of Spec video that Kyle did on the Max Pack, it was not worth $16,000, let alone $19,000. So, but now we have a wide range of battery options from you to choose from. Now, what's really important about this is that now there are some limitations to what battery you can get with what drivetrain, or drive system. So as we know, Rivian has three drive systems. They have the dual motor all-wheel drive, performance dual motor all-wheel drive, and then the quad motor all-wheel drive. The quad motor, which is the one that's been around the longest, kind of the OG, you can only get the large battery pack with that one. So that is the only option you have. No max, no standard, no standard plus. If we move down to the next one, we have the performance dual motor all-wheel drive. Now with that one, you can get 3 of the 4 batteries. You can get the standard plus battery, which has 315 miles of range, the large, which has 352 miles of range, and the max, which has 410. And then finally, we have the dual motor all-wheel drive, which is kind of the entry-level, base-level Rivian. I use that term very loosely because it's still a phenomenal vehicle. But with that one, you can get all 4 battery packs, right? You get standard, standard plus, large, and max. Again, with that standard battery starting at 270 miles of range. Will this actually be the miles of range? Well, I will let Kyle get his hands on some of these vehicles and do all that testing when he can to see if these are actually it. And then, of course, what the EPA will actually rate it. Before jumping on this call, we looked and there was no details on the EPA site yet on these new batteries. So we don't have that information just yet. So that's kind of like the limitations in terms of what vehicle you can get, what drive system, what battery you can get with it.
Wow.
Continue on with this. There's a lot of information here, but hang tight.
Bring it on.
With this, because of the new standard batteries, it now allows Rivian to be able to actually lease out these vehicles at an even more affordable price. So you can literally start a Rivian lease at about $559. And actually, I'll even tell you more because I have one here open. If you go to Rivian's R1 shop, which is open to the public, anybody can go on there, and configure a base level R1T. So an R1T in LA Silver, dual motor all-wheel drive with the standard battery pack and the standard 21-inch road tires, it comes out to $69,900. And with $6,000 down, which is what Rivian kind of base all their lease pricing around, so that includes this $559 you see on the screen, you can actually get a Rivian R1T for $536 a month with $6,000 down. Now, what I've noticed is that all of these Rivian leases includes the $7,500 EV lease credit that Rivian offers. So while most, if not all, Rivians do not qualify for the $7,500 tax credit if you were to finance it, Rivian is passing on a lease credit. There's some loophole there, tax loophole situation. So there is a $7,500 EV lease credit that does qualify even for the cheapest, there it is, the $536 a month R1T. So all you would have to pay out of pocket is $74.31 due at signing, which includes $6,000 down, an acquisition fee, and your first month's payment. And you can walk home with an R1T, and within a couple of weeks, if not less, for 36 months. And of course, unlike some other EV manufacturers, Rivian does let you buy out your vehicle at the end of the lease. And so that means that you could potentially say, hey, I want to get a lease for 36 months, 10,000 miles. But in reality, I know that at the end of this, I'm going to buy it. And that's totally fine, and of course, in terms of residual value and all that, there's really no way to know until you kind of sign on the dotted line to see what that turns up to be. But I've seen some people quote, I had some folks reach out and say that they had done leases with Rivian and their residual value was around $56,000. So that kind of was pretty good, actually. So that is kind of where we're at right now with all these exciting new things. Literally, I think that this is just phenomenal news that you can literally get a Rivian for, $536. I'm not saying $536 is cheap, right? That's still
well. It also is $6,000 down, so it
is absolutely.
What if you put it? What is the least amount they'll let you put down? Because it's a lease, you should never really put that much down. So what's the cheapest?
You can put $0 down. All that would be due is the acquisition fee and the first month's payment. So
does this include taxes and fees?
Estimated due at signing, excluding taxes and fees.
Okay, so you still got another $3,000 on top of that worth of taxes and fees that you got to go. So it's not. I mean, this is why I don't like the advertised lease stuff, because it's not. It's going to be $700 a month or something by the time you're done. with
and that's the thing, right? Destination fee, $1,800, not included in these numbers.
$1,800 destination.
Yeah.
Oh, rough. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure they lease out that well. And I think if you buy it, especially a standard one, they may hold their value pretty well. So I guess from a technical perspective, what are these new things? So large and max pack, quad and dual motor, which we had before, those seem to be unchanged, right? Those are no technical updates. This isn't the mid-cycle refresh that we were waiting for. That still is to come. So they've offered now a smaller battery, which is probably, I would think, if they're trying to do some lean manufacturing, probably the same battery that's in the EDV, which is an LFP smaller battery pack. And it's a 91-ish kilowatt hour usable battery pack, 91, 92. And that's exactly what they were getting out of them in the EPA results. I just pulled up the EDV stuff to see on the drive loops how many kilowatt hours they could do, and boom, they got those out. What we don't know is how they charge. No one's done a charging test on that battery. But from a range and cost perspective, there's so many people that just don't need a lot of range. My friend Colton wants to get a Rivian as an example. And now Jess, his wife, is like, we took them out in the EV9 the other day, and she's like, damn, this is awesome. But they want to get an R1S potentially. And
nice.
Just having the standard range, like they drive like 6 miles a day and they don't really road trip anywhere other than the mountains, which this could easily do. So, I would like to see like a 200-mile range, really cheap, really small battery, because again, I think so many people overbuy on the battery. The only requirement I have on the small batteries is that they still charge well. And at least with LFP, we have the option, or at least the possibility that we'll have a great charging curve. And they are more temperature dependent, but they also last longer. And I think it's interesting that they're doing the software locked thing and then the software unlock for standard and standard plus. That's a very Tesla move. I kind of like it. I think it's cool. I think for $3,500, you get an additional, 45 miles in the EPA cycle. That seems worth it. But if they let you do
Kyle,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. I just had somebody reach out. They are not LFP batteries.
Oh, really?
Okay, so what do we think then?
Yeah, so it's a new NMC chemistry then. How did I just get a thumbs down?
I don't know.
I didn't do that.
You are very unhappy about it.
Yeah.
I am. I like LFP. This would have been a great application for LFP.
It was great timing. So then it's lithium ion.
Well, they're all lithium ion, but yes, but now it's NMC chemistry. So it's standard stuff, cobalt battery. Again, thumbs down. I don't know why.
It's probably because of your...
Is someone hitting that on my computer?
No, it's your fist. You can see your hand.
This is
yes,
really
triggering. The wonderful Mac options. Yeah, so
is that confirmed? This dude knows, whoever sent you that?
Yeah, I value their opinion.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it.
Well, I mean, Jose coming in hot with all the good information about this. So
dang, real time.
Real time. So not LFP, but definitely other options. Kind of going for more affordable, less of an emphasis on...
then, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm just thinking out loud. Then it almost makes even more sense to get the software locked one and just full charge that thing every day. So your daily usable range will be unchanged.
Okay.
So then you're spending $3,800 on a road trip for the one time a year you might go on a road trip. I don't know. I think the standard battery is going to be fine. We have to see how it charges. So that's the big question. It's going to charge worse than the big batteries, and the big batteries already don't charge that well. So
in the max pack, $19,100.
Well, so okay, is that only that much more money because the standard price was dropped? What is the cost delta between max pack and large pack? My guess is that stayed the same.
It's the delta is $10,000.
Yeah, that's what it was before.
Okay,
so it's not like that got.
Yeah.
Now the base price just got lower.
The base price, right? Yeah, the base price got lower because before you could only get the minimum was the large pack, so they were charging you for the large pack regardless. Right, there was no option to get there was no option to not pay for a battery pack. You had to. So now we're down. It's kind of been reset to like, okay, here's the base, and then for $3,100 you can get standard plus, and then for an additional $6,000 you can get a large, and then for an additional $16,000, you can go for max. So I guess the price didn't change.
Right. So that's fine.
Their website is just confusing how they lay it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It
So that's
doesn't
fine.
change.
We've gotten we don't need to hammer them anymore on the max pack stuff. They really should update that and not offer that to the public. But I think the large pack is still the sweet spot. I think that is still the sweet spot for this truck.
I agree.
But I don't think this like standard plus. So I think knowing that that's NMC, I think you do the standard battery, and still if you're a nerd like me, you charge it to 50% every day. But you can full charge that thing. My guess is they took the buffer off the top to reduce degradation, and you just keep that thing at 90% every day rather than 70% as an example. I don't think your daily usable range is going to change all that much. That's my recommendation. I can't wait to test it. Does it make less power or the same power?
It should make the same power because it's dual motor. The motors haven't changed.
Well, there could be a battery limitation for power output.
If there is, the website doesn't state the horsepower then continues to be the same.
Which would indicate perhaps that the voltage of the small battery pack is the same. So like Kia EV9 is the example that comes to mind just because we've been testing it a bunch recently, and the big battery and the small battery use the same motors, and the big battery has lower voltage than the small battery. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. The big battery is 500 and something volts. The small battery is 600 and something volts. So the big battery makes like 40 less horsepower than the small battery, even though it's the same motor. And so that's just, it's a voltage power output thing because everything's current limited. So there's so much testing to do. I can't wait for the EPA site to list these because this is not the EDV LFP battery. That one's made in China and shipped over here as a whole module. This is completely new. So
and that one is and I'm pretty sure you know this, but that one's software locked as well. So
yeah, can you spec a standard one, Francie?
Yes.
Also, something I just noticed as we're going through this, if you have the standard battery pack, you cannot opt in for the all-terrain upgrade. It does not let you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and I think it's because the range would drop substantially. Well, 270 with road tires, 255 with 22-inch tires. I imagine if you were to put the 20-inch road tires,
you'd be at like 220.
Yeah, they don't want that.
So then that's fine. I mean, if people want a high content vehicle, let them get a bigger battery on it. But ultimately, that's a great daily right here for 70 grand. And does this get the tax credit then?
It does. Well, if you finance or lease.
No, not if you lease it, because anything can get it if you lease it. But it's made in America.
It should.
The batteries are here.
Before the only one that qualified previously was the base level. So yeah, this should qualify because the base level LA Silver 21-inch road tires qualified. So, yeah.
Down payment, it doesn't show it, but I think, I would think this would get the $7,500 credit plus at least in our state of Colorado an additional 5,000, 4,000, something like that, like 5,000. Nice. So you're getting like 12.5 grand off of this thing. Wow. That's a freaking value right there. Holy smokes! And I kind of like the LA Silver Black 21-inch combination. I mean, they're pretty popular now because everyone's been going for the base specs, but like that's awesome. And so are they available in, they say 1 to 6 weeks available configurations. So they already have these.
Francie, if you go to filter there in the bottom, you can filter by batteries type. And then you can see, so right there, you can see what's available in your area. And I mean, I spoke to someone who said that you can start getting delivery within like the next week.
Wow. So they need to get this thing on the EPA website then pretty quickly. I'll be keeping an eye out. So every Thursday they refresh them. We're recording this on a Thursday. I'm not sure at what time, but I'll look tomorrow morning and see if we can find all the data on it and do an analyzation on all this. But yeah, holy smokes. I think this is the move. This is great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
That one
I want to
know. The tax credit. Oh, maybe it doesn't. What is the tax credit limit?
So many more details. I think it's is it 80,000?
80 grand.
Okay. For trucks and SUVs. Yeah. Okay. Really cool.
All of these hit him. So that's really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps making more options in the Rivian lineup, which is always interesting to see. And more
So now
options
you
for
won't
people
get
with
the
different
full
use cases.
7500. You only get 3750.
Why?
Either critical components or where it's manufactured.
Rivian.
Well, it's manufactured in America.
In an email I have here, it says that Rivian reiterated to customers that it will qualify for 3750 under the Inflation Reduction Act.
Huh.
Okay. Well, that is halved into where the critical materials come from, and then also the manufacturing. So
cool. This is
really
awesome.
cool.
I think this is good. This is going to move. I think this is going to move a lot of R1 inventory, especially as we start getting here closer to the later year, and we see the R1 refresh happen. So
very cool.
This is very exciting.
Yeah, good work. More interesting stuff coming from Rivian. Y'all are both excited. I think that this is, adding more options is pretty good. So why not more R1Ts on the road? I don't mind looking at them.
Yep. Great. I think you just go base battery unless you really need the range. We'll have to test the charging performance, assuming it charges reasonably. If it charges like crap, then large pack. But if it charges then we'll be good. Wow, yeah. I like it. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, hopefully you can get your hands on one soon, Kyle.
And I drove a performance dual motor and regular dual motor back to back, by the way. I didn't think you needed the performance.
Okay. Why?
Yeah, it's just most people just cruise around. I think about how I drive my truck, and that's just a very Kyle use case, but very rarely am I past 30% throttle. I just drive around in that thing. It's so comfy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what percentage of benefit am I like ripping on it? It's like less than 1/4% of the time I'm driving.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's more of a fun add-on if you can do it, not necessary for most people's lifestyle, especially with the Rivian.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jose, again for coming at us with the information. Really appreciate it.
Of course. Pleasure.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see you on the podcast again sometime soon. Kyle, thanks for joining. As y'all are both R1T owners, Rivian lovers and likers. So let us know what questions you have about this update from Rivian. What do you think about it? Does this make you want to buy a Rivian? Has something changed for you now? That now it's more accessible? Let us know in the comments. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of the Out of Spec podcast. Have a terrific rest of your day. Bye-bye.